Hello, today we'll be talking about how we can create Windows 8 phone apps using Visual Studio and Windows Phone SDK obviously. For that we'll need the Visual Studio obviously, and the second part that we need is the Windows Phone SDK. And you can download the Windows Phone SDK from the Microsoft site. Let's start away with the basic application. For creating a basic application, you just need to go to File, New, and then click on Project. And from the side panel, make sure you choose the Visual C Sharp and then go to Windows Phone and select the very basic one template. There are many templates like the data bound templates, which consist of a large list from which the user can choose for several items. And the another one format, the other template that is very famous is the pivot app template. We'll discuss about this, but let's create a simple app, the simple template app. Yes, we'll be targeting Windows Phone 8 OS. Click on OK. So on your Visual Studio, when you just open your make a new project, you'll see two halves of a window. On the left half you'll see the design view of the app, and on the right hand side you'll see the coding part of that particular design. Now the designing of the Windows Phone page is done in XAML. XAML stands for Extensible Application Markup Language. So for developing the for the development part of the Windows Phone app, you'll use either you can use the C Sharp and you can use the VB. So we'll be using C Sharp. Now for the designing part, we'll only use the XAML. Now if you aren't familiar with the XAML, you can directly choose to directly drag and drop the components out in here. That's the beauty of the Visual Studio. From the toolbox, you can just select which tool you want, and you can easily place it on the content panel right here. So as soon as you put the code in the design view, in the design mode of the app, of the page, you'll see the corresponding code that's get inserted inside the content panel, or where you add it, whichever control you add on the screen, it gets its corresponding code added on the right hand side. So that's really a very flexible thing, but for now, as we are studying about this app development, we'll create the controls of our own. So before making something advancements, let's have a basic overview of how it is, how this XAML, what's the significance of this XAML code, what's the meaning actually. So from the very beginning, as you can see, each app of Windows Phone has a phone tag, inside which all of the other sub tags would be created, and our main concern is the grid element. There are two types of layout elements, namely the stack panel and the grid. While stack panel arranges the controls in a stack in an order, one below the other, taking full space in a row, in which one element takes the full one row. And in the grid element, you have the flexibility of creating your own style of putting the controls on the screen. You can make several boxes. You can arrange 2 boxes or 3 boxes or even 4 boxes in a row. That depends on you. You can apply column span, row span. We'll see how. So for now, XAML is quite similar to HTML. Rather, it's been inherited from the XML, which is more generic in nature. For XAML, you have to define a schema. For using XML, as you know, you might know that it needs a schema. Schema means the whole definition of that particular XML page. Like in XML, you create your own tags, but where the definition or the structure of that XML page is stored, that defines the schema or the namespace. So that namespace you have to give it here, that from where it should derive the meaning of the controls that we are making in our page. So the schema that we use, the default schema, is stored at this address, this URI. I intentionally said URI instead of URL, since it's a schema. It wouldn't be publicly available to all. It's not like that you'll navigate to this code, this URI, and on your any browser, and you see the content in here. It'll show an error over there, because it's just a schema. It's a definition. And the second line, the XML NS:*X, it means that whenever an element would be prefixed with the X alphabet, it would refer to this one namespace instead of the above one. The above one is for all the elements, the default namespace. If any element is not prefixed by any special word or special alphabet, I should say, like this, so it would refer to this one schema, and if it is prefixed by X, it would refer to this one schema. And for phone also, we have the schema. That means our phone application page is referring to this one schema right here. So that's a basic definition, basic functionality. Now let's move on to the content panel. In the content panel, this is where we define all the elements that we draw on the page, on our app. Create a button in here, very simple button. Let's give it a background of dark gray. Right, play. Give it some nice background, dark color, dark green would be nice. Okay, so as you can see, as you write the corresponding code in the right hand side, you'll get the design on the left hand side. So the button that we have just created is taking up the whole space of the content panel. So we don't want to do this. So we'll explicitly specify, we have to specify the height and width of the control. So let me give the height of 100 to this button, and along with the height you can also give the width, say 100, or give it some more, 200 would be fine. And along with, there are some other properties like vertical alignment top and horizontal alignment to left. Now, while the horizontal and the vertical alignment pulls the control towards the boundaries of the container element, in our case the play element is being stuck towards the edges of the control it is being contained in, it is being held by, that is in our case is the content panel. So if you just want to push the control away from the boundaries of the container element, you can specify the margins. Now while specifying the margins, you have to keep in mind the way I'm going to specify them. Now see, when I write 10, 20, 30, 40, I mean 10 pixels from the left, 20 pixels from the above, from the top, 30 pixels from the right, and 40 pixels from the bottom. So this is how you can specify the margins. You can specify some larger margins also, like if I specify 100, that content is moved to accommodate a margin of the 100 pixels from the left. So this is how you place a control on the page, on the panel. So okay, let's do some event handling now. For event handling is very simple in this XAML. Just write, if you want to handle the click event when the user clicks on this button, some code you want to run the backend, you can right click equals to, and click on new event handler, button click. And when you just do this, just right click in here and click on navigate to event handler. Now when you click on this, Visual Studio will take you to another file named mainpage.xaml.cs. This is a C# file wherein you will write the whole programmatically code in here. This is the partial, as you can say, public. You can see this whole file and read this line: public partial class main page, that is a subclass of the phone application page. Now what's the meaning of partial in here? That means that this class, this C# code and the XAML code, both of these are two parts of the same app. It means they are the partial implementation of the same thing. That means we are making the app, we can write some of the code in XAML and some of the code in C#. The controls that we are making here, they can be created programmatically in the C# code, as well as they can be created through the markup language in the XAML. So I'll show you how in a minute how we can do that too, but for now let's handle the event. Inside this button click, you'll write, let's say we want to just show an alert box or the message box. I'll write message box.show hello Lumia. Seems like we're done with this. Yes, everything is fine. Now run the app by clicking in here. You can select the emulator of your choice. Later on we'll see how we can play a particular sound by using the media element control. Right now we're just displaying a message, an alert box message, just for the sake of the basic coding. Here we go. Now when I click on play, an alert message is displayed saying hello Lumia, and okay, it's a very basic app, there's nothing more in it. So let's go back. First of all, you have to stop the debugging in order to make changes in your in any file in your app. Now let's make a media element. If you want to play a particular sound or media in your app, media element, and set its source property to something, we'll just do that in a moment. Volume equals to, well, these are optional, you can or cannot specify these. Now I'll give a name to this media element. Now, giving names to an element in the XAML helps in programmatically manipulating that element when you're writing some code in the C#. So let's give it a name, my player. Now, since I've specified the name my player, I can use it anywhere in my C# code to by referring its name very easily. So that's the flexibility of the keeping your UI and your code thing separate from each other. That follows the MVC approach. It's model, view and view model. The basic fundamental of this one technique of software engineering, it keeps the UI, the GUI, the interface of the app separated from the backend code. So in order to play a sound, you have to add one. So let's see, on my computer I'll go to the music folder and I'll get a song. Okay, just drag that particular song to the assets folder inside your app. See, this mercy.mp3 is inserted inside the assets folder. Now we can set the source as assets slash relative to our main page.xaml. Our main page.xaml is in the root of the app, that is the phone app 7, and in the same hierarchy there is a folder assets inside which we have our mercy.mp3 that we want to play when we click on the button. So that will set the autoplay to false. Save this, and inside the button click event, go to your C# code, and inside the button click event, just remove this, write my player. Now see, we are very easily able to manipulate the properties of the element that we created in our XAML inside the C# code. So we can write play. It's simple and easy. Now run the emulator. So our app is working right now, so we need to do some enhancement in it, like if I want to pause the particular song, so for that I need to do some extra coding inside it. For that, first we have to sort the version, obviously, and now you just need to create a boolean variable to check the status, that whether the song is being running in the backend or not. Boolean status equals to false. By default it is false. If you don't specify it, it'll take it as false. So I'll write an if condition, if not status, or we can say if status is equals to false. That means if the app isn't running, then we want to play the music, and also we want the button text to be changed to pause. That happens mostly if you happen to notice this thing, and we want the text of the button to change. So we'll write we'll create an instance of the button, so I can decide it. Now which button we want to have the text changed is the button from which the event is being getting generated. And how we can get that? We can get that from the sender that is being passed inside the click event handler. The object of the sender, that is the button in our case, is being sent through the event handler taken as the argument. Now since our sender is of type object, we have to downcast it to the button like this. Now we can manipulate the properties of content is the property to manipulate the inside content of the button. Right, pause. Oh, sorry. Now go to the else part, and if the music is running, we want the content to play. And we want my player to get paused like this, and we want the boolean flags to change that way. Boolean equals to true, and status equals to true, and status equals to false. Let's run this. So this is how you can create a simple media app by using some code in the by deploying some code in the writing some code in the XAML and some code in the C#. So we see how easy it is. We discussed about the how you can create a simple button and set its properties in the XAML portion, and also now we'll be discussing about how you can create the object, how you can create an element that would be visually available at the runtime, that would be created at the runtime and displayed on the app through the C# code. So we can do the same by writing some of the code. It's very easy. Write button. Inside the constructor of the main page app, you can write this button, my button equals to new button. Create an instance of the button class. So through this code you can map, you can see the similarity of how the button is being created in the XAML code, as well as with the one we are creating here in the C# code. Now we can, as we have made an instance of the my button class, we can manipulate the properties like my button context equals to dynamic button. My button dot, and several properties. Here you have vertical alignment equals to top, and my button dot horizontal alignment equals to right. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, this is not a way to define the vertical and horizontal elements. That's where the difference lies between the creating the elements in the XAML and the ones in the C#. System dot windows dot horizontal alignment dot right. Sorry, we are setting the vertical alignment, right? Vertical alignment dot top, and system dot windows dot horizontal alignment dot right. And you can set the background of this button. My button dot background is equals to new solid color brush. Now see, there's an error. That's because we haven't imported the statement. This red isn't available. That's available in the colors enumeration. Set it to blue. And set the width of my button. Also set the height. Then you need to add this button that is being dynamically created to the content panel. So how we can do that? We need to reference the content panel that is being created inside the XAML code, and we have given it a name, content panel. So as I told you earlier, giving the names to the controls help them in their manipulation. Content panel dot children dot add my button. So seems like we are done with this. Let's run it. you won't see this control in the design time because it's being dynamically created. See, this button is dynamically created, and all the properties that we defined in here are applied to this button. So now you can see that which of the code is easy. Obviously the XAML 1 code is very easy as compared to this the one we created in the C#. That's because consider the case of the vertical alignment and the horizontal alignment, that we have to specify the whole class hierarchy. That the top is an enumeration that is being defined in the vertical alignment class, and that class is a subclass of the Windows, and the Windows is a part, Windows class or Windows namespace is a part of the system namespace. So while writing the same code in the XAML, we don't need to specify all this. We just wrote vertical alignment equal to top, and how it is able to convert it into all that enumeration style. That's done. That's a feature of the XAML that is known as type conversion. It converts the values that are given to it to the corresponding enumerations or the properties that are being defined in that class. So now if I write in here like pop, it'll display an error because it is not able to convert the requested value to the one that is being defined programmatically in the classes in the system.windows.horizontal vertical alignment class. There is no enumeration known as pop. So let's give it a name top. So this is how you can visually manipulate the contents of the app using the XAML, and here is you can make the controls of your own programmatically and manipulate their properties and refer them. There's a linking between the two. These both have a partial implementation, as I said earlier, and we'll see more things coming in the series of the Windows Phone app development. So let's see you in the next lesson. Subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.